It's a gorgeous South Florida morning here at the Palm Beach International. Perfect setting to test out the new Cooper Xeon RS3 G1 tires.
It's a pretty brave move to put these tires on straight up race cars.
The racetrack is the perfect scenario for this particular tire.
All day they were great, super predictable on the breakaway.
The tires, they seem like they have a lot of grip. You'll get a lot of use out of the tires.
Road to Indy, story of the moment.
Oh, those mid-Ohio twists and turns. Maybe it's the placement in the schedule, or maybe it's the ever-changing track conditions. But this year is not the first time that one of the three championships has taken an interesting turn. In Indy Lights, what looked like a season-long slugfest between a pair of rivals has turned into a comfortable lead for Askew. When the green flag came out to start the Freedom 100 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Askew trailed Renus VK by a single point. But 4 wins, including the last 3 in a row, means the 2016 USF 2000 champion heads to the final oval race of the year with a comfortable 45-point lead. Kyle Kirkwood, who won 3 times at Mid-Ohio last year on the way to the USF 2000 championship, took 2 more Buckeye State trips to victory lane, his 4th and 5th wins in the last 6 races. Rasmus Lind had a 45-point championship lead as the series left Indianapolis. Now the Swede has only 13 points in hand with 5 races remaining. 44, 35, and 9. 3 numbers that Braden Eames will have a full month to contemplate before the series is back in action at the Portland International Raceway in a month's time. 44 was the Cape Motorsport rookie's lead after the month of May came to a close. 33 is how many more points Hunter McElrea has scored since. 9 is the lead he has with 4 races remaining.
Road to Indy 101.
All right, we've gone further back into the Dallara facility here in Speedway, and now we're in the simulator room. I've got Bryce from Dallara Group here with me. He's gonna show us what this is all about, and he's here to answer questions. So right off the bat, what is this? What do we have here?
Alrighty, so this is a professional F1 aerospace graded simulator. It is one of 3 in the entire world of its kind. There is 1 here in this facility and 2 over in Italy. So we've got actually 3 different models that we can test at this one. Right now the mock-up that you see in it is a Indy Lights IndyCar mock-up. Different car models are mathematically inputted into the software up in the control room. Basically you can change any type of setup that you would want to run in a matter of seconds with the amount of technology and everything that's involved.
What are the advantages of doing a sim day here as opposed to driving the race car in real life?
Cost effectiveness. You know, you don't have to rent out a track. But if you crash a simulator,
No crash damage, that's always good.
You can get started back up again in 30 seconds and you're not losing any parts. So we've got a 180-degree screen that's ran by 3 projectors. You'll notice that there's different speakers too. When we turn it on, you'll hear, I mean, it even sounds like a real car. There's a big bass booster back here.
Okay. Let's say if I was going to come do a test day, how would we fit me in here so that it's exactly like my race car?
Yes,
do I bring my own seat and all that?
Yep. And we would change, I believe these are the IndyCar side pods, and we would throw on the Indy Lights side pods and get it all set up to, you know, make sure you are as close to being in the real car
as that same tactile sensation, same feedback. Like you belt them down, you gotta wear a helmet and everything, the whole thing. The real question, has anyone ever been sick in this thing, in the motion?
So yes, there are some guys that they suffer from motion sickness, and sometimes it's not the best thing for them. So, but the sim also has the option to be a stationary platform. So most of the time, and if that's the case, then we just make it a stationary platform.
This has been a behind-the-scenes tour of the Dallara simulator here at the facility in Speedway, Indiana. Thank you, Bryce, for giving us the tour of the facility. It's been very informative.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
Hope to see you in here for a session sometime.
Yeah, we'll have to set that up. Looks pretty fun.
Yeah.
Harrison Scott crossing the yard bricks. Huge wreck. Good group of drivers getting set to go here. 12 in total running here at Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. Corey Enders and Moises de Oliveira, the two drivers for D-Force Racing, first and third in the practice session earlier today. Had a chance to talk to both of those drivers at the Cooper Tire stage earlier on. Tomorrow we've got an autograph session for all of our drivers after Indy Lights is wrapped up. We've got I think noon is the start time. I'll have another Cooper Tire stage question and answer period. We've got two of the drivers from Indy Lights from the HMD Motorsports team. That'll be David Malukas and Toby Sowery. Those drivers, of course, will be over there. Come over and join us, ask some questions, meet these future stars of the NTT IndyCar Series. But again, 12 drivers set to go. And I talked about training these drivers to be ready to move forward, and that's what this oval race is all about. USF 2000, the very first run, not here with us. They ran one oval race, as they do each year. They ran just at Lucas Oil Raceway as part of the Carb Night Classic before the 500. The Indy Pro drivers ran there as well. Daniel Frost from Exclusive Autosport scoring the race win back in May. 2 races for Indy Pro on the oval. They'll run here as well at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Indy Lights normally with 3 races. Just a bit of a schedule change this year. We decided to go to Circuit of the Americas in Austin. That meant that we could not go to Iowa Speedway. Normally Indy Lights running the 3 oval events, of course kicking things off with the Freedom 100, then going to Iowa, then here to St. Louis. But again, just 2 races for Indy Lights this year. Drivers onto the racetrack as we are getting set to go. Again, qualifying for Indy Pro 2000. First driver coming across the line in the number 5 for RP Motorsports Racing, making his debut with the series here. Driver from St. Petersburg, Russia. I'm talking about Artem Petrov. Young driver who ran at the very top levels of world karting as a junior driver. Making the move then, running some F3 and Euro Formula events over in Europe. So all road course racing for Artem. So definitely throwing him to the wolves here. A new experience for Artem Petrov. Artem looking good coming out of turn number 4. We'll get him on the clock here. Green flag flying here at start finish. RP Motorsport USA, a team that made its debut last year. Harrison Scott was the primary driver, very good on the oval. So they've got a pretty good setup laid down from last year. And talking to both Corey Enders and Moises de Oliveira after their session, very happy with the way their cars were planted. They want to have a little bit of a push, a little understeer in the corners, a little more comfortable. Moises liked a little more understeer than I think Corey. Corey seemed like a car that was a little bit loose, a little bit of oversteer. They say loose is fast, but you have to be able to have those quiet hands, those very slow hands. Your input has to be so deliberate. Artem will take it down to the bottom of the track coming through turn number 1 and 2. His first lap, 141.009 miles per hour. 143.7 miles per hour fast time for Corey Enders. That was the top speed. 2-lap average of 140.001. The track record from 2 years ago. So we are definitely going to set a new track record here, I believe. Second lap for Artem, a little slower, 140.851. Average speed, 140.93. 140.93 mile per hour for Petrov. Twelve drivers getting set to take to the racetrack here. Corey Enders ready to fire things up, of course. Driver who is the point leader right now, the number 10. Last driver onto the racetrack, the Swedish sensation, Rasmus Lint. Rasmus, pretty good start to the season. A couple of wins, able to break through at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course, scored both victories there. Has not finished outside of the top 4 this year, which is just absolutely stellar. 2 fourth-place finishes, 1 at St. Petersburg, 1 at Road America. Other than that, either first, second, or third on the podium. A stellar 9 times so far this year. But really, What's interesting, the consistency for Rasmus gives him the point lead coming in, but 13 points back, the American Kyle Kirkwood for RP Motorsport. 3 wins in a row, 5 out of the last 6. He has come on strong here, beginning with a sweep of the weekend at Road America back in June. Onto the racetrack now, a rookie in the series, Antoine Camo, made his debut at Mid-Ohio back at the end of July. Camo for Team Turn 3 Motorsport. Canadian from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. 140.930, 2-lap average for Petrov. So we're now underway. Camo, as I said, from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. That's his hometown, his residence, but actually living now in Chicago, Illinois with the Turn 3 Motorsports crew. 140.850 miles per hour, his opening lap. He'll have to find some more speed if he wants to move Petrov down a spot. Camo really focusing on getting as much experience as he possibly can here this year ahead of a full campaign in 2020. Turn 3 Motorsports, a team owned by Peter Dempsey, former Freedom 100 winner. Had an amazing 4-wide finish. He was able to come up to win that one. Team owner now, engineer, strategist. Good second lap for Camo. Turns it up to a 141.229. Antoine Camo, the Canadian. 2-lap average, 141.039. Nice to see that for a young driver. Going a little bit quicker on lap number 2. 2 pretty decent laps as well. Separated by about 0.4 of a mile per hour. Lights are on here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Nothing like racing under the lights. Tomorrow's event is going to be awesome. We know you're going to be here. If you're listening on Road to Indy TV and watching the action here, if you're close, if you're anywhere near, pack that car up tomorrow and come and join us tomorrow night because it's going to be a fantastic evening. Weather looks like it's going to be perfect. It's going to cool down a little bit in the evening. Couldn't ask for much better here this weekend here in St. Louis. Elder statesman of the program for Fat Boy Racing onto the racetrack now. Charles Finelli, 57 years of age. This guy has been a long-time racer in F2000 competition. Made the jump up to the Indy Pro 2000 class. See what Charles can do here today. Had a pretty good time getting up to speed slowly in the practice session. Again, that's one of the things that Charles does. Takes a little more time, just make sure methodically works on getting more and more speed from the race car. They'll have some pretty good wing dialed into this to make sure he's got good grip. Warm-up speed of 132.237 mile per hour. Pretty solid. Got to trust the car here early. Again, sticker tires. They put fresh tires on. These are the tires that they will run as well. They had 2 sets coming in and a carryover set from an open test that we had a couple of weeks ago. They started practice this morning on the used tires. They're able to put that one fresh set on to get a feel for the car, doing a qualifying simulation. And then fresh tires here as well. The rubber that they have in the cars now is what they're going to run tomorrow in the race. 136.201 for Charles Finelli. Finelli currently 13th in points. He was 9th at Lucas Oil Raceway, the first oval race of the year. Stayed out of trouble, did a great job. Top 10 finish. Qualified the cars in reverse order of the point standings. So we've got some heavy hitters still to come. Those drivers sitting in the cars, getting themselves mentally prepared. Second lap a little better. Very impressive. Same as Camo, about 0.4 of a mile per hour faster. 136.612 miles per hour, second lap. 2-lap average, 136.406 miles per hour for Charles Finelli. Finelli from Locust Valley, New York, in the Fat Boy Racing Machine, sponsored by Suger and Haggerty. Good 2-lap run for Charles. Keep the car out of trouble, get out there tomorrow and have a good run. So this will be interesting right now because the driver currently sitting in the 12th place in points. They have done a great job or fast the test. This is Corey Enders on the racetrack now. He was the fastest in practice earlier today. Had a fantastic run in the test. Good speed there as well. This could be your provisional pole sitter right here. This guy could go at it. He was very strong today. Let's see if he can do it. Corey Enders, born in Warwick, New York. Spent a couple of years there as a child. Now lives in Sugar Land, Texas for D-Force Racing. Let's see what Corey can do here. 141.412 mile per hour warm-up lap. And again, we are going to set a track record here. We've already got the single lap qualifying record locked and loaded already. 140.001 two-lap qualifying average. Your track record set by Anthony Martin a couple years ago, 2017. But again, this new car came out. It's significantly quicker. Great race car built by Tatis, the PM18. 280 horsepower behind all these drivers. Count of 142.271 opening lap for Corey Enders. A 142.271 mile per hour. That'll be the mark that everyone else is going to try to chase after based on what Corey Enders was able to do, the young American. Impressive in practice. Most drivers going about 0.4 of a mile per hour quicker. Let's see if we can see a 42.6 or better at Enders as he comes across the line again. 142.123. Actually slowed it up a little bit. Still two-lap average, 142.197. Corey Enders over a mile per hour quicker than Antoine Camo, but I'm not sure if that's going to stand. A 143.7. He was quick earlier today. Remember, when we ran earlier today, right around between 3 and 3:30, 3:15 and 3:45, that's the kind of weather we're going to have tomorrow, and that's when they're going to race. Their event right around that 3:15, 3:30 mark. This is a different run for them. It's significantly cooler than it was earlier today. And again, that's when the engineers have to make the right adjustments. What do you do with wing angles? You know, how much downforce do you dial into these cars? There's only so much, range of adjustment you can make. 81 degrees now. Sun's starting to work its way to the horizon here. On track now from Louisville, Kentucky. Rookie driver in the Indy Pro 2000 category from Abel Motorsports, sponsored by Abel Construction and Bell Helmets. It's the 51 of Jacob Abel. Jacob currently 11th in points. Pretty good run in Toronto, a couple of top 10, 6th in their opening race, 7th in race number 2 at the Lucas Oil Raceway Oval, P5. Top 5 finish for Abel on the first of the 2 oval races for the drivers in Indy Pro. Nowhere near the warm-up time. Abel was P6 this morning, but nowhere near the time laid down for warm-up by Corey Enders. He was 141. Jacob a little slower, 137. So it's a significantly slower warm-up lap. Does that still transition into a good opening circuit? Here comes Abel across the line. 140.440 miles per hour slots him into P4 behind both Petrov and Camo. Jacob will not be happy with that. Again, a brand new team this year, Abel Motorsports. Jacob Abel and Parker Thompson, the 2 drivers. Thompson starting off the year with a pair of wins at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Currently sits P3 in the points. 2 wins and 6 podium finishes. Here comes Abel, finishing up his 2-lap run. Oh, had a big moment out there. Obviously a 132.190. Well back, 136.190. Not a good second lap for Abel. So that'll slot him into P5. Next driver peeling off will be Moises de la Vera. De la Vera from Guadalajara, Mexico, living in San Antonio. P3 this morning. We'll look at Enders as a kind of what we're going to expect the Moises. Downshift into turn number 1. Grabbing that gear as they work their way down the back straightaway again through the much wider turns 3 and 4. It was 1:41.0, I believe, the warm-up time for Enders. Let's see what he does here. De La Vera, 1:40.714, very similar. Enders rolled it at a 2, up to the wall. Rockets down that back straightaway. Corey Enders still provisional pole. Lots of championship contenders still to come. Opening lap for Moises De La Vera for D-Force Racing in the number 6. Good enough for P2 right now, 141.549. Remember, I think Enders backed it down a little bit for run number 2. Let's see if Moises can turn up the wick here on lap 2. De La Vera across the line. Lap number 2, 140.170. Couldn't keep up the pace. In fact, he's going to fall back to P4 right now. Both Antoine Camo and Artem Petrov quicker with the 2-lap average. De La Vera, 140.856. So the speed they showed in practice earlier today, not transitioning here into 2-lap qualifying for either of the drivers from D-Force Racing. True Enders still P1, but significantly off the pace that he was able to set. Antoine Camo was a 138.4 mile per hour earlier today. He turns it up to a 141.039. Went almost 2 miles an hour faster from practice to qualifying. So we'll see what kind of race car these two drivers have, because they're going to have to come to the front. De La Vera, at the very best, is going to start 4th. But we got a lot of big top drivers still to come. Exclusive Autosport driver from Los Angeles, California. Born in Moscow, Russia. Nikita Lastashkin in the number 90 onto the racetrack now. Raskaya Mechanica, the sponsor on the race car. Veteran driver here on the road to Indy. F2000 graduate, US F2000 driver, a couple of years. 136.293 his warm-up lap. 139.899 miles per hour, his best speed in practice this morning. Lostoshkin's had a pretty solid year, really consistent, number of top 5 finishes. Really likes this racetrack, was excited to be coming to the track here this weekend. Didn't quite get the speed he wanted, had some good pace in our test a couple of weeks ago, the open test, but they'll try to keep dialing things in. First lap for Lastashkin. 137.279. Slots him into 5th. Yeah, I don't think he's going any quicker at this point. He's going to have to get some big speed to move up a spot right now. Over 3 mile per hour off that of De La Vera in 4th. Currently P5 for Lastashkin. Does he get more speed here in lap 2? He does. About 0.6 of a mile per hour, 137.878 miles per hour for Lastashkin. Still P5 provisionally, with 5 more drivers still to come. Again, reverse order from the championship standings means the big dog still to come here now. Stingray Robb from Payette, Idaho, coming onto the racetrack. Daniel Frost from Singapore, winner of the first oval race of the year at Lucas Oil Raceway. He'll be up after Stingray. Then it's the Canadian Parker Thompson, followed by Kyle Kirkwood from Jupiter, Florida. And the current point leader, Rasmus Lind from Sweden, will be the last driver to take to the track. Of course, Felix Rosenqvist and Marcus Ericsson, the Swedish drivers in the NTT IndyCar Series. One Swede here as well in the Road to Indy, and Rasmus Lind. We'll see him at the end of the run here. Stingray Robb from Idaho, the young American for Juncos Racing, now on track. Didn't have the best speed in practice. Let's see if they've dialed something up for this machine. Rasmus, his teammate, was P2, so I would expect that Stingray Robb will show good pace here, 139.324, his warm-up lap. Stingray's had a couple of good finishes this year, 3 podiums. Second at the road course at Indianapolis, second on the oval at Lucas Oil Raceway, and coming off a second-place finish at Mid-Ohio as well. First lap puts him inside of row 2 provisionally, 140.992 miles per hour. If he gets a little more speed here, he may be able to jump up ahead of Antoine Comeau. I think Stingray would like to have seen something mid to high 41s. Didn't see it, though. Out of 3 and 4. Stingray Robb. Does he dial it up? Significantly. A full mile per hour. 141.899 miles per hour for Stingray Robb. Jump him to P2. So at the very worst for Stingray Robb, it's going to be a start on the outside of row number 3. 141.444 mile per hour, 2-lap average. Corey Enders with a 142.197, still provisional pole and the provisional 2-lap qualifying record here at Worldwide Technology Raceway in the Indy Pro 2000 category. Anthony Martin, former USF 2000 champion, setting that former record back in 2017. Here comes Daniel Frost from Singapore. Exclusive Auto Sport, the team. Denjet, the sponsor. It's been a good year so far for Daniel Frost as well. 5 podium finishes, 2 wins. Scored a victory on the 5/8 mile oval at Lucas Oil Raceway. Backed it up on the streets of Toronto as well with a win there in race number 2 of the doubleheader. Pardon me, he actually scored the front end of the doubleheader in Toronto. Came back to a 4th place finish on Sunday. 139.050 mile per hour warm-up lap. That's solid. Still a little off of Enders, but some drivers will warm the tires up a little bit differently. Maybe taking it easy a little more. Enders went right at it. What do we get for a first lap here for Daniel Frost in the number 68? .492, down in the 6th position. He'll need some big speed again if he wants to jump up a little bit here. He's well back. 0.6 of a mile per hour behind Antoine Comeau, who's right now on the inside of row number 2. Again, we'll say hello to those of you who have tuned in to watch here on the Road to Indy TV app or online at IndyPro2000.com or RoadToIndy.tv. Always able to watch all the Road to Indy action online or on the app. Needs a big lap here. Doesn't get it. 140.792 mile per hour. 2-lap average, 140.642. Daniel Frost in the number 68, currently P6. Could very well end up starting on the inside of row number 5. He's 6th right now. Still 3 more drivers to come. Parker Thompson, Kyle Kirkwood, and Rasmus Lind. Kirkwood, the reigning USF 2000 champion, reset the single-season victory record last year. Parker Thompson coming first. 6 podium finishes, 2 wins. Swept the opening weekend at St. Petersburg. Been battling ever since in the Able Motorsports machine. Driver to Red Deer, Alberta, Canada. Distinct livery for the machine for Able Motorsports. Parker Thompson in that number 8. Able Constructions and Badlands Motorsports Resort, the sponsor on the car. Talented and personable young Canadian. Let's see what he gets for his warm-up lap. Do we see a 141 out of Thompson? 139 flat. Not sure if that's going to transfer into a provisional front row start here for Parker Thompson. He was P4 in the practice earlier today. 143 mile an hour flat. But again, driver's very likely potentially using the toe, getting the draft to lay those big laps down. Corey Enders still holding on to provisional pole. Out came early in the run. Opening lap for Parker Thompson, the worst we've seen so far, 136.138. Something wrong with the car of Parker Thompson. He just does not have the speed. Well off, 136.138. P10 right now for Parker, trying to win a championship. 45 points up for grabs, 50% more points for a single race weekend. Normally it's 30 to win a race, but we have double headers, so 60 points up for grabs, 45 here for a single race weekend. Parker will not be happy with this at all. Second lap a little bit better, 137.589, jumps him up into the 8th spot. But it's a good possibility. He's going to be starting in the 10th position for Parker Thompson. He's going to have work to do. Again, brand new team, not a lot of data. That's what Parker Thompson's here to do, try to build data for Able Motorsports ahead of their 2020 campaign. They're going to keep working here this weekend. So on to the racetrack now. The driver who has been on the biggest streak wins 5 of the last 6 races to firmly put himself into the championship battle. Kyle Kirkwood from Jupiter, Florida, reigning Cooper Tires USF 2000 champion for RP Motorsports Racing. Soul red colors there for Kyle Kirkwood, having won that championship last year. The Mazda sponsorship still on the car. Of course, Mazda no longer one of our partners with the program. Still with a soul red car. Scholarship still up for grabs, though. Driver winning here in the Indy Pro 2000 category will win a significant chunk of the budget to be able to go Indy Lights Racing in 2020. Where does Kyle Kirkwood slot in for his warm-up lap? 140.981. That's more like it. 140.981, just a tick slower than Corey Enders. I had said that Enders was going to be one to watch, potentially provisional pole, and he's held on to it so far. No one else has gotten closer. 142.197. He was a 143.786, so 1.6 mile per hour slower than what we saw in practice earlier today. All right, where's Kirkwood's first lap? 142.504, move him to provisional pole. Quicker by 0.4 of a mile per hour. Kirkwood trying to steal away the provisional pole with Rasmuth Lint, the only driver still to come. The bonus point for qualifying on pole, crucial in a championship battle. 5 races still to go. 1 here, 2 at Portland, 2 at Laguna Seca. Here comes Kirkwood. Can he back it up and keep Enders off the pole? He does. He goes quicker. 142.521 miles per hour. Kyle Kirkwood, 2-lap average, 142.513. Very consistent speeds within 0.02 of a mile per hour. 2 very good laps out of a talented young American as he steals provisional pole away from Kyle Kirkwood. So it's all up to the final driver here now in Indy Pro 2000. He's the point leader coming in. He has not finished outside the top 5 this year. only twice off the podium. Rasmus Lint, the Swede, for Hunkos Racing. 13-point lead coming into the event here. Kyle Kirkwood behind him by 13. Parker Thompson back by 48. Daniel Frost by 59. Stingray Robb by 69. Rasmus Lint looking to stop the wave of momentum for Kirkwood, having won 5 of the last 6 races. Lint on the podium for all but one of those. 3 seconds and 2/3, so he's been there, just hasn't got those wins. Remember, Kirkwood was pretty good in that opening lap to the warm-up lap, 140.9. That'll be a good indication of whether or not Rasmus has got some speed here. His teammate currently P3. 141.640. That may be the fastest warm-up lap we've seen. The young Swede on it here now. Currently on his first flying lap. Lint from Kulavik, Sweden. 142.513, 2-lap average for Kirkwood. Do we see a 142 at Rasmus? Move him to P1, 143.102. Our first 133 lap, or 143 lap rather. 143.102 miles per hour for Rasmus Lint. 143.102 mile per hour. Taking the bull by the horns. Can he back it up? Checkered flag to fly. He does. He goes a little bit slower, about a half a mile an hour slower, 142.6 miles per hour, 2-lap average, 142.857 mile per hour, and Rasmus Lint has taken the pole position for tomorrow's Cooper Tires Indy Pro 2000 Oval Challenge of St. Louis, and that was big for Rasmus. A bonus point there. Quicker by just over 0.3 of a mile per hour. So the two championship contenders, first and second coming in, qualify P1 and P2. Parker Thompson back in 10th spot in the Able Motorsports number 8. He will not be happy with that. Right in front of him, Daniel Frost, P4 in the championship. Great run for Corey Enders as well. He ends up in the second position, rather the third position, second row. So here's your rundown. Rasmus Lint from Hunkos Racing, 142.857 mile per hour. The pole sitter after a great 2-lap run. Kyle Kirkwood in the second spot, 142.513, the number 28 for RP Motorsport USA. Row 2, we'll see Corey Enders alongside Stingray Robb on row 3. An impressive run for Antoine Cameau, the rookie driver, his second start here in Indy Pro 2000. He qualifies 5th in the Turn 3 Motorsports entry. Artem Petrov as well. 0 oval experience, comes in here and goes P6 outside of row number 3 for RP Motorsport USA. Row 4, Moises de Oliveira for D-Force Racing alongside Exclusive Autosports' Daniel Frost. Exclusives Nikita Lastishkin in the number 90 will start 9th inside of row 5. Parker Thompson on the outside in the number 8. And row number 6, Charles Finelli alongside Jacob Abel. Just a really good run there for Rasmus Lint, though, when you think about the championship and the way the wave was moving, the momentum for Kyle Kirkwood, having won 5 of the last 6 races. Big run for Rasmus Lint. Great 2-lap average. Resets the track record here at Worldwide Technology Raceway as well. The new record for Indy Pro 2000 around this fantastic track, 142.857 miles per hour. So again, Rasmus Lint alongside Kyle Kirkwood. That'll be your front row when we go racing tomorrow afternoon in the Indy Pro 2000 category. And for those of you tuning in on the Road to Indy app, the Road to Indy TV app, get ready. We have our Indy Lights drivers rolling out here next. They're qualifying, set to go soon.
It's a gorgeous South Florida morning here at the Palm Beach International. Perfect setting to test out the new Cooper Xeon RS3 G1 tires.
It's a pretty brave move to put these tires on straight up race cars.
Race truck is the perfect scenario for this particular tire.
All day they were great, super predictable on the breakaway.
The tires, they seem like they have a lot of grip. You'll get a lot of use out of the tires.
Decisions can be made when and where it counts. For IndyCar fuel testing, we are where certification results are needed fast.
For the world's young drivers. And this series hits the racetracks of New Zealand for 5 weeks every year on the quest to find the next world champion.
Road to Indy, story of the moment.
Oh, those mid-Ohio twists and turns. Maybe it's the placement in the schedule, or maybe it's the ever-changing track conditions. But this year is not the first time that one of the 3 championships has taken an interesting turn. In Indy Lights, what looked like a season-long slugfest between a pair of rivals has turned into a comfortable lead for Askew. When the green flag came out to start the Freedom 100 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Askew trailed Rinus VeeKay by a single point. But 4 wins, including the last 3 in a row, means the 2016 USF 2000 champion heads to the final oval race of the year with a comfortable 45-point lead. Kyle Kirkwood, who won 3 times at Mid-Ohio last year on the way to the USF 2000 championship, took 2 more Buckeye State trips to victory lane, his 4th and 5th wins in the last 6 races. Rasmus Lind had a 45-point championship lead as the series left Indianapolis. Now the Swede has only 13 points in hand with 5 races remaining. 44, 35, and 9. 3 numbers that Braden Eames will have a full month to contemplate before the series is back in action at the Portland International Raceway in a month's time. 44 was the Cape Motorsport rookie's lead after the month of May came to a close. 33 is how many more points Hunter McElrea has scored since. 9 is the lead he has with 4 races remaining.
Hello, my name is Rasmus Lind. I'm driving the number 10 Hunkos Racing in Indy Pro 2000. Yeah, I'm born in Kullavik outside Gothenburg. It's a quite small town, but we're not so many people, but it's good. The country is very clean and stuff, so but I would say like it's very close to America. A lot of things it's quite similar, so it's quite similar to here. It's fun to have a lot of fans at home in Sweden as well. Yeah, we have worked a lot on that on the social media side to get a lot more fans than we had last year. So we work a lot on that, and yeah, I mean it helps me a lot. It gets me confident and stuff. So it's very good. I've always been a kid. I'm racing a lot, so I'm normally at home. So I'm always in the workshop and restoring go-karts, what I normally do, and yeah, I renovate go-karts from the 90s to 2000s. I just find them online I don't look on the condition, I just look at what type of frame it is and what engine it is on it. So I renovate the engine and I renovate the go-kart and find new pieces and put it together as it was at the 90s. So that's what I do. Yeah, some of them I sell and some of them I drive with and I do some races with them. You can follow me on social media, on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram is Rasmus_Lind and Facebook is Rasmus Lind Racing.
Road to Indy 101.
Every race weekend, the drivers in the 3 levels of the Road to Indy compete for poles, race wins, and championship glory. The one thing these drivers don't want to think about is a crash and what happens afterwards. Luckily for us, we have the support of the AMR safety team. This weekend, we're going to get a behind-the-scenes look at this specialized unit. All right, we're here with Tim Bachman, the Director of Track Safety with the AMR safety team. Tim, we're standing in front of one of your trucks here. Can you maybe give us a brief overview of what it is that the AMR safety team does?
Well, sure. Hi, Dalton. How you doing?
Thanks for having us.
So we take 16 folks to every IndyCar event, including all the Road to Indy events. Each truck is staffed with a crew leader, a paramedic, firefighter, and 2 rescue technicians. This is very similar to what we do as firefighters and paramedics out on the street, but it happens a lot faster. It happens right in front of us. We don't have a 911 call and then a delayed response. We're there in seconds. A lot of times there's a demand to get us off the track and get the driver into a safe position, whether it's off the track or if they're injured, to the hospital. And our goal is to do that within 2 minutes. And that happens a lot faster than what it even happens out on the street when we're doing our normal job. So,
what are the bigger challenges that you guys face?
If there's an opportunity to save a life, a driver is seriously injured, we know that we only have a very small window of opportunity to get them out of the car, get them to the hospital, whether it's by helicopter or by ambulance, and do that in as short a time as possible, where they can actually truly have surgery and take care of what's going on with the serious injury. We can have, in these cars, we can have 140, 160 mile an hour hit and have drivers walk out and not have an injury. And it's truly from the way the cars are designed and been built and where we've gotten today with technology.
Can you talk about maybe some of the differences between the Speeder Series and the IndyCar, minor adjustments you have to make when you approach a scene?
Very little as far as what's going on in the driver cockpit, and I think that's by purpose. You know, I think that the USF 2000s and the Pro 2000s and even Indy Lights, you know, they want things to transfer as the drivers move up the ladder. Yep. So the inside, the steering wheel, how it comes off, it's all the same. Some of the plugs are differently. They just changed the plug-in on the drivers in the Indy car, so they're plugging in at their hip instead of up here, so their wires are up and out of the way. We need to know, if we need to get them out, that we need to either cut those wires or unplug them. They get taped during races so they don't get unplugged accidentally, and we understand that. You know, we have seen a lot of drivers come through the series, and for the most part, I think they have an appreciation to see a familiar face, especially when it's a rough time, and know that we've got the situation under control. We've got a system that goes beyond our initial response, but all the way to the infield care center, to the trauma center, and even after they've had their initial care, getting them back to Indianapolis or back to their hometown and making sure that the proper care is delivered and get them back on their feet as quickly as possible.
Well, I can certainly tell you from the driver's standpoint, we appreciate everything that you guys do here with the AMR safety team. So thank you very much for this overview of what it is that you guys do at the track, and hopefully I won't see you on track.
Well, hopefully you'll have a good time. We'll all get to watch a good race. That's how it works.
Exactly.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Look at this freight train as now the Lucas skies down to the inside. 3 wide through turn 4. From the Sky Gibbs.
Road to Indy, beyond the grid.
Hi, my name's Oliver Askew. I'm from Jupiter, Florida, and I drive the number 28 Index Invest car for Andretti Autosport. I'm from Jupiter, Florida. I was born in Melbourne, Florida, but moved to Jupiter when I was about 3 years old. So for as long as I can remember, I've lived in North Palm Beach area. That's where I've grown up, and that's where I'm based now. I'm back and forth to Indianapolis. I'm spending more time in Indianapolis now this summer. Like most other drivers, my life is completely dedicated to motorsport, and it has been since I was 12 or 13 years old when I was homeschooled and racing almost every weekend. When I do have some time off, I do like to go home and be centered around family and the beach, and when we do get waves, and mostly in the wintertime, I do go surfing with my friend Kyle Kirkwood for the most of the time. So I'd love to get back in the water. That's where I can kind of relax and unwind and not think about racing so much. So that would be nice. That if I had to choose, that's what I'd go do. But unfortunately, it's not up to me. It's up to Mother Nature. So I play guitar. I train a lot every day. Obviously, these cars are very physical, so I try to train as much as I can to not get tired in the car, because when you get tired, then you start to make mistakes and you lose lap time. So my goal is to race an Indy car, and I think I have to develop myself as an athlete to make it to that goal. Thanks for watching. You can follow me more on the Road to Indy TV app and on my social media handles on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Good jump for Pato O'Ward as he'll take the lead. As Colton Herta scores the win at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Urrutia gets the win.
My name's Brian Hallahan. I'm the team manager of Newman Walks Racing. I've been with the team since 2006, back when it was Champ Car Atlantic Series. After that, Paul Newman, when he passed away in 2008, we decided to race one final year. We ended up winning a championship, first and second a championship there, and then we stopped racing for about 4.5 years. When the new Tatis came out, Eddie Walks gave me the opportunity to start racing again, and we've been at it ever since.
My day-to-day duties here are I'm responsible for all the car setups, data analysis. I work with another data engineer here, Dan Toborg, and between the two of us we go through and look at what the drivers are doing, what the data shows, do the setup work, and then just oversee the general performance aspects of the car. When they're young, and as young as some of the drivers we see in this paddock, they're very moldable. They listen, they're ready to learn. Newman Walks Racing, we have really experienced people. We work hand in hand with our young drivers, trying to teach them some of our knowledge.
It's been great working with the team so far this year. We've had a lot of success. Yeah, it was hard at first. It's a new engineer, new car, new series, so there's a lot of stuff to learn. There's a lot to learn about the car and just rules about the series as well. So the team, Brian the manager, John my engineer, and Tom driver coaching, between all of us, they really helped me and bring me up to speed. We've made a lot of progress as the year has gone on, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can produce.
I've never really been on a team this big, so it's really cool to have all these different people, and everyone's super helpful, and everything's been running really, really smoothly. Everyone on the team works really well together. It's been a really smooth start to the season so far.
At this level of racing, an open wheel formula, it's probably one of the toughest in the world. I mean, you got some of the best drivers coming. The cars in the competition are very close. It's a great thing. I mean, I don't think any other series in the world offers that to the kids.
It's a gorgeous South Florida morning here at the Palm Beach International Raceway. The perfect setting to test out the new Cooper Xeon RS3 G1 tires.
It's a pretty brave move to put these tires on straight up race cars.
The racetrack is the perfect scenario for this particular tire.
All day they were great, super predictable on the breakaway.
The tires, they seem like they have a lot of grip. You'll get a lot of use out of the tires.
For 15 seasons, the Castrol Toyota Racing Series has led the way in New Zealand motorsport. With 170 drivers and 276 races so far, the graduates have made their mark in international motor racing. This is the pathway for the world's young drivers. And this series hits the racetracks of New Zealand for 5 weeks every year on the quest to find the next world champion.
Parker Thompson, Kyle Kirkwood, 1-2, great stop. We're underway. 3. It's a sweep, back-to-back gap.
Road to Indy race recap.
The road to Indy's midsummer stop at the undulating Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course is always a turning point in the championship season, and this year's visit was no different. After scoring a crucial win in Toronto to pull out a 25-point lead in the Indy Lights standings, Andretti Autosport's Oliver Askew rolled into Mid-Ohio with massive confidence. The speed was there from the get-go for the young American, and he simply steamrolled through every session, winning both poles to set up dominant victories in both races. Askew topped home state star Ryan Norman in the opening race of the doubleheader, as Norman advanced from his Row 2 starting spot to finish a strong second ahead of Askew's primary championship challenger, Rinus VeeKay of Juncos Racing. On Sunday, Askew was in great shape starting from the pole. The American stretched away to a convincing victory, his 6th on the season and 3rd in a row. The double wins have extended his lead in the points to 45 over VeeKay heading to Gateway. Sowery was on his game to take 2nd, while VeeKay finished 3rd for the 2nd straight race. In Indy Pro 2000, there is no denying the momentum currently being enjoyed by RP Motorsport USA's Kyle Kirkwood. The American entered the weekend having won 3 of the last 4 races, and he got off to an extremely positive start, topping qualifying for both races, which counted as his 3rd and 4th consecutive poles. Kirkwood managed both starts and restarts to win both Mid-Ohio races quite handily, closing the gap to the championship leader Rasmus Lindh down to just 13 points. Lindh was second to Kirkwood in the first race of the weekend, finishing ahead of Kirkwood's RP Motorsports teammate Ian Rodriguez. In Sunday's run, it was his teammates' turn to shine as Stingray Robb tied his career best result with an inspiring drive to P2. The field for USF 2000 featured 17 drivers, and Pabst Racing unloaded with 4 extremely fast race cars for their stable of drivers, led by the New Zealander Hunter McElrea, who swept both pole positions. At the drop of the green for race 1, Jay Howard driver development pilot Christian Rasmussen went quickly to the lead from his front row starting spot, and he simply drove away from the rest of the field, winning by almost 10 seconds. It was Rasmussen's 2nd straight victory, and he is certainly building the momentum needed to make his second half charge for the title. McElrea became embroiled in a fight with BN Racing's Matt Round-Garrido, but the Englishman could not hold the spot as both McElrea and Colin Kaminsky finally found their way past to finish on the podium in 2nd and 3rd. McElrea came back on Sunday and dominated the action, keeping Rasmussen at bay for all 20 laps. Both drivers clawed back crucial points in the title fight as Ohio's Braden Eves struggled with finishes of 8th and 7th. Eves' lead had dwindled to just 9 points ahead of McElrea with 4 more races to go.
My name's Brian Hallahan.
It's a gorgeous South Florida morning here at the Palm Beach International Raceway. The perfect setting to test out the new Cooper Xeon RS3 G1 tires.
It's a pretty brave move to put these tires on straight-up race cars.
The race truck is the perfect scenario for this particular tire.
All day they were great, super predictable on the breakaway.
The tires, they seem like they have a lot of grip. You'll get a lot of use out of the tires.
Hi, I'm Matthew Round-Garrido from Stourbridge in England, and I'm driving the number 27 BN racing machine in the USF 2000 Championship. So I'm from a small town called Stourbridge in the West Midlands of England. It's just west of a big city called Birmingham. There's not much to do there. It's quite a small, relatively small town, probably about 60,000 people. I think the general age is probably quite old, to be fair. Yeah, if you're walking around town, you've seen a lot of older grannies and that. But everyone's nice there, to be fair. So we got a train station, and that's about it. Well, to be honest, racing's not only what I want as my career, but it's also what I like to do as my hobby as well. So I actually I work for a karting team doing all the British Championships, travelling all around the UK. But apart from that, I like relaxing with my mates, popping down to the pub every now and then. There's a restaurant in England called Nando's, so we love going for like a cheeky Nando's every now and then. It's basically just chicken. It's so good. I mean, we both say that we speak English, but we definitely don't, because even as little things, like my mechanic yesterday was like, "Oh, Matt, pass me the wrench." I was like, "What's a wrench, mate?" And he's like, "Oh, it's this thing." But we call that a spanner. So I was like, "No, mate, that's called a spanner." Just little things like that, understeer back at home is called push here. Getting used to the terminology takes some time, but ultimately it's still the same thing, really. So as long as you're on a level with your engineer that you're working with, everything's fine. Yeah. You can follow my progress on the Road to Indy TV app, and also on Instagram at MattRoundGarrido, and on Twitter at GarridoRound.
Victorious at Mid-Ohio. Smart coming through that corner.
Boy, look at this freight train as now the Lucas skies down to the inside. 3 wide through turn 4. Cut the sky gift.
Road to Indy, beyond the grid.
Hey everybody, my name is Parker Thompson, professional tire guy and semi-professional race car driver of the number 8 Able Motorsports Indy Pro car. So I grew up in Red Deer, Alberta, which is, a lot of people don't know, it's right in between Calgary and Edmonton, which are two very well-known cities in Alberta. Grew up in a great place. I still call Red Deer home when I'm not racing, so it's nice to get back there in the off-season, and it's where my family's from. Growing up through high school and middle school, I was on the road so much that honestly I didn't get back home much. In grade 9, I moved to Italy by myself to compete in go-karts over there for the full course of 12 months. So I lost touch with a lot of friends. I only kept a few close ones. I still keep in touch with them today. But it wasn't like I grew up per se in Red Deer. I was on the road a lot with the Road to Indy and other race organizations. Honestly, at the moment, I don't really have time for hobbies. I've raced, at the end of this year, I'll race over 23 race weekends. I'm in 4 different championships, 4 different cars. It's pretty insane this year. I've only had 1 weekend off, and that was just after Toronto. So definitely pretty busy. Hopefully in the off season, I remember what my hobbies are and I can go back to them. I would say if I was going to take a day off from racing, I'd probably go take up a round of golf. In high school, I was actually fairly decent, but now being a couple years graduated, I've kind of lost my touch. I don't play very much, and I don't usually play with my clubs because I'm always on the road just showing up at some random golf course. So I'm lucky to shoot under 100 now, but back in high school, I was not too bad. You can follow me on social media on Twitter and Instagram at Parker T Racing and on Facebook at Parker Thompson Racing.
Matt was off-road racing, if you can remember back that far, and I sometimes have difficulty doing that. Did drag racing for a while. We carried the IHRA as opposed to the NHRA, and then it evolved into NASCAR in 1980 and Thunder.
Yep.
And that kind of thing. So yeah, I was very, very lucky to have been involved in the grassroots of the opening, if you will, of ESPN, and to have enjoyed where it is today, and also NBC. You know, we started on Versus doing the IndyCar series, and Versus became NBC SN, and that's where I concluded my career. And I'm really glad that I was able to conclude my career with IndyCars because I enjoyed the NASCAR years very much, especially working with Benny Parsons and Ed Jarrett and the other members of the group, Jerry Punch and others. But my love has always been open wheel racing, and so I'm glad I was able to conclude my career doing open wheel racing.
You can't beat open wheel. I
Yeah.
mean, that's just it's
Yeah.
a proven fact. Whether it be a 1/5 mile dirt track or
Yeah.
a 1.25 mile asphalt track, such as we have here at WWT Raceway, open wheel racing, man, it is so exciting.
Mm-hmm. And I still love the small dirt tracks. I'm really excited about getting to go back to the BC 39, which will be held at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on their new quarter-mile dirt track. Last year, I went to the preliminary night and enjoyed that very much. And then the finals night, so to speak, it was raining. And it rained until 8, 9 o'clock, and they got the track dried. But in the meantime, realizing that I had to be on mic for the Brickyard 400, we left, and so I didn't see the finals of the race last year. But I hope to this year, and I hope we have better weather. And then we'll go into the Brickyard 400 and have a fun time doing that.
Yeah. He said that for a reason, folks. Well, coming up here in just a little bit, it will be the Indy Lights qualifying, and right now we're going to switch over to the Indy Radio Network.
Madison, Illinois, it's time for the Indy Lights, presented by Cooper Tires on the Advance Auto Parts IndyCar Radio Network.
Friday in St. Louis rolls on live from Worldwide Technology Raceway. This is the Indy Light Series presented by Cooper Tires on the Advance Auto Parts IndyCar Radio Network. Thank you so much for joining us. As first driver out on the racetrack is Lucas Cole. Rob Howden joins me in the booth here in St. Louis. Rob, one practice session in the books. Boy, everybody's chasing Oliver Askew in the points championship, and the same can be said in terms of lap times.
Very, very interesting, because I think we saw the drivers from the HMD Motorsports team, Toby Sowery and David Malukas, look so good early, but it was Oliver Askew kind of wait until the end of that session, put out some fresh tires, dropped down an absolutely smoking fast lap, 161 mile per hour flat. And again, this is one of these opportunities for Oliver Askew to really grab a firm control on this championship, qualifying though underway.
First car out of the racetrack is from Santa Cruz do Sul, Brazil. He resides in Miami, Florida. The only driver this weekend for Bilardi Auto Racing, it is the rookie Lucas Cole, who makes his way through turns 3 and 4. His qualifying run underway here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Out of turn number 4, the warm-up speed was at 153.3 miles per hour. Lap 1, Rob, 153.849 as Lucas Cole goes to turn 1.
Rolling the car through 1 and 2 right now. This entire 2019 season, kind of an exploratory run here for Lucas Cole ahead of a 2020 program with Bilardi Auto Racing. Again, he'll work his way down the back straight. And we're looking pretty good so far through 3 and 4 right now, as Nick said. 153.849 the opening lap. Let's see what he gets here on lap number 2. Lucas Cole bring the red and white number 5 across. Significantly quicker, 156.733.
Yeah, big pickup for Lucas Cole. Nearly 3 miles per hour faster on lap 2 than he was on lap number 1. 156.733, the 2-lap average. For the young man from Brazil, 155.278 for a driver that, again, just continuing to get a little bit better, learn a little bit more. These ovals a little foreign to young Lucas Cole.
Well, a super conservative opening lap for Lucas. You got to remember, he ran a couple years in USF 2000. He's only run at Lucas Oil Raceway. He did not do Indy Pro 2000. Of course, his first big oval was the Freedom 100 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So really, as you said, a big jump for Lucas, and even more of a jump when you come to an oval like the one here at Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Drivers going out in reverse order of where they stand in Indy Lights points. Next out of the racetrack is the pilot of the K-Line Insulators USA Incorporated car for Juncos Racing, number 67 from Toronto, Canada. It is Dalton Kellett making his way down the back straightaway here on his warm-up lap. Dalton Kellett Rob's been awful strong on the ovals throughout his Indy Lights career, still searching for that very first win.
Yeah, indeed. If there is a place where he's able to step things up, it's on the ovals for sure. He'll bring it across the line, puts that opening lap in, 156.126 warm-up lap here for Dalton Kellett.
We will keep an eye on the run for Dalton Kellett. Meanwhile, let's hear from the pole sitter a little bit earlier today in the Indy Pro 2000, standing by with Michael Young on pit lane.
Yeah, the second rung of that Road to Indy program, Rasmuth getting his fourth pole of 2019, a pretty impressive run for you. Your thoughts on this place? It's a lot different between that and Lucas Oil Raceway, the only other oval that you run. Tell us about your run today.
Yeah, I mean, I had a very good run. I did a few mistakes, so I could have gone a little faster. But I mean, it's very good. It's our 50th pole for the team in Pro Master or in the Pro 2000, so I'm very happy.
So a little bit about the mistakes you made. It's obviously a mile and a quarter. What kind of mistakes can you make in something this quick?
Yeah, I mean, I went a little bit too slow into 3 and 4, and the grip level was a bit higher, so it got a little bit loose on me. But I know what I'm going to change for tomorrow, so we'll be good tomorrow.
We expect him to be very good. The points leader in the Indy Pro 2000 Series on the pole tomorrow. Rasmuth, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
That's Rasmuth Lind, guys.
And, of course, the goal for Rasmus Lind to win that championship. He can compete in Indy Lights 1 year from now. The 2-lap average for Dalton Kellett, very consistent at 158.510. Let's hear from the first driver who was out on a racetrack, Lucas Cole, standing by with Jake Query.
And you talked about next year's Indy Lights season. We know that Lucas Cole will be back driving for Brian Bellardi. So I want to ask you about exactly that. This is one of those years where I got the feeling you kind of wanted to just see where things were, understand the car. Then next year you're back and you've got everything under your belt. Where would you assess what you've learned this year so far?
Oh, I've learned so much. I mean, if you look at the progress that we've been doing, and then if you look at the test last week and then today, we weren't really good. We're really happy with the balance this afternoon, and then we did some changes for qualifying. We're still lacking a little bit, but I'm working on my driving. We're working with the engineers to improve the car. So, I mean, it's all about that connection and learning how the lights car feel on those tracks.
Lastly, talk about this track right now, because I know earlier, there was some oil dry that was laid down, and it was pretty slick for the NTT IndyCar guys. How was it for you?
Yeah, I had a big understeer in turn 1 and 2, so that's probably what caught up my first lap. And then I moved my bar to adapt, and then I got a little loose between 3 and 4. So the second lap, I was just moving my bar between both straightaways to adapt for 2 corners, but I got a lot of push in between 1 and 2, so I don't know if that's to the oil or the temperature change.
Appreciate the time.
Thank you very much.
That's Lucas Cole, Nick.
All right, next out on the racetrack is David Malukas for HMD Motorsports. Lap number 1 of the books, Rob, 158.446 as he sails it off through turns 1 and 2.
Considering the speed that David Malukas and the HMD Motorsports team were able to do at the open test a couple of weeks ago, he and Toby Sowery first and second. I expected a little more out of an opening lap here, but again, just like Lucas Cole, rookie driver in the program, maybe be a little more tentative on the opening lap. 158.446, a touch slower than Dalton Kellett. But as he brings it across the line, let's see if he gets more speed. Indeed he does. Tunes it up to a 159.584. 2-lap average, first driver over 159 miles per hour.
He swung it really wide out of turn number 4, carried a lot of speed at the exit of that corner, and as you mentioned, it pays off. That second lap at 159.584 pushes David Malukas, the driver of the HMD trucking car for HMD Motorsports, and from Chicago, Illinois to P1. Let's hear from Dalton Kellett, standing by with Michael Young.
2-lap average for Dalton, 158.510. Good 2-lap average for you. Obviously, the conditions have changed. It's a little bit cooler than it was, but obviously track temperature coming down. Big difference for you out on the circuit when you qualify?
Yeah, we've definitely taken a lot of downforce out of the car, so the trim is obviously making the car move around a little bit more, making it feel a little bit more lively through turn 3, 4 here. 1, 2's got a lot of banking, so it always feels pretty good there, yeah.
Well done today. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon for that race. Always does good here on these ovals. Dalton Kellett again, 158.510. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks, Michael.
Rookie driver Robert McGinnis out of the racetrack to start his qualifying run. He drives the cybersecurity Dallara for Andretti Autosport. And Rob, he was second fastest in practice a little bit earlier today. So this is a good line in the sand to see if Robert McGinnis has anything for his teammate Oliver Askew.
I really like the input there from Dalton Kellett, talking about the fact that, of course, you trim the car out. Obviously, a lot more downforce when we go practicing earlier today. It'll be more downforce for the race tomorrow as well. But you trim the car out here, and I liked he called it a little more lively in turn 3 and 4. I think lively, probably a fitting word. I think more of a deal where you're gripping on that steering wheel pretty good. Not the greatest warm-up lap speed, though, for Robert McGinnis, 154.586. We saw lap times up there for Malukas in the 157.
Yeah, he took an awkward angle out of turn number 2 here on his opening lap. He streaks out of turn number 4 to complete lap number 1 of his qualification run. The speed is 157.897, so just as you noticed, Rob, a little off from what we expected as Robert McGinnis heads down the backstretch.
McGinnis, again, had a couple of really good runs earlier on this year. Of course, was a winner at the road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Currently sits 5th in the points. He'll work his way again through that lively turns 3 and 4, keeping that throttle down. Let's see if he can go any quicker. Currently inside of row 2, P3, with a number of drivers still to come. Turns up the wick by almost a full mile per hour, 158.767 miles per hour, Nick, but not enough to move Dalton Kellett out of provisionally P2.
2-lap average for Robert McGinnis is 158.331 miles per hour. So halfway through qualifying, it is David Malukas and Dalton Kellett provisionally on the front row, Robert McGinnis and Lucas Cole in row number 2. Fastest driver so far, standing by with Jake Query.
David Malukas just got out of that machine, as a matter of fact. Kind of a team restructure, if you will, a merger for you guys coming in to this particular event. But it looks like a pretty good car that was delivered, right?
Yeah, no, it's been really good. I've been obviously ecstatic with the team. The team's been great. And coming from my last oval being in Indy, I've had that big accident. So to come back into an oval and, be on top, means a lot to me.
For you personally, this particular racetrack is relatively close to home, considering the other places that we go. Does it add a little bit more intrigue for you? Will you have additional friends and family here this weekend?
Yeah, of course. A home race is always, you want to be on top. So, trying to root up my fans and my family.
We'll see whether or not this time holds up, Nick. David Malukas right now finds himself provisionally on top of the speed charts.
His teammate is out on the racetrack. He comes to us from Cambridge, England. The driver of the Gap Guard Rich Energy Dallara for HMD Motorsports and Team Pelfrey. It is Toby Sowery, one of these drivers, Rob, that has been knocking on the door for that first career Indy Lights win. This very well could be the weekend, as Sowery was awful sporty in practice.
Yeah, major restructuring for what was BN Racing, now HMG. They've got a new team manager. They've got a new chief engineer. Of course, Jeff Fickling joining the team at Road America. Now John Comiskey running the program out of Brownsburg. Just essentially an entire new mindset, new ideology. And in talking to Toby, very, very happy with the race car. He'll go P2 with his opening lap of 158.591. A half a mile an hour off of David Malukas. He'll have to turn things up here, but they were very happy with the car at the open test 2 weeks ago.
Bright yellow car with black and silver accents for Toby Sowery. The Englishman arcs it into turn number 3. As Rob said, has to find about a half a mile an hour on this second lap to try to knock his teammate David Malukas off the pole. Out of turn number 4, across the start-finish line for Toby Sowery. A little bit faster on that second lap. He comes awful close. Rob Howden just misses it by about a tenth of a mile per hour. 2-lap average, 158.927 miles per hour for Toby Sowery.
Yeah, very strong second lap. Dialed it up to 159.262. We'll see now what we're going to get from Oliver Askew. Of course, he's a couple drivers still to come, but right now those 2 drivers from HMD Motorsports occupying your front row. Malukas provisionally P1, Sowery P2. Still a lot of big drivers to come, and of course the championship challengers, both Rinus VeeKay and Oliver Askew. I'm, of course, looking at the Andretti Autosport cars currently on row 2, Kellett and McGinnis. What does that say about the potential setup for Oliver Askew's machine? Could be interesting.
Next out of the racetrack is the winner here 1 year ago. He drives the 3-cord Dallara for Andretti Autosport. He hails from Cleveland, Ohio, resides in Aurora, Ohio. It is Ryan Norman, a thrilling victory in the final laps as he outdueled Colton Herta 1 year ago. Ryan Norman a little bit earlier this morning, Rob. Surprisingly, only 6th in practice, but we'll see what he has here in qualifying.
But during the interview, he was unbelievably happy with the car. He said he felt it had good balance. It was going to be really good when he was, in the draft behind someone. He sounded very, very happy with the car. Remember how this race last year, though, really turned everything around for him. He was able to win here. He put the car on the pole at Portland on Labor Day weekend. Not the best warm-up lap, though, 155.622. Again, Norman looking to dial things in as he works down his way down the back straightaway to turn number 3 for the first time. Lap number 1 underway.
Yep, Ryan Norman. The car is red and black, as we mentioned. New sponsorship, 3-cord bourbon on that machine. Out of turn number 4, across the start-finish line, he'll see the white flag First lap for Ryan Norman, 158.763 miles per hour. That is tracking for third. Let's hear from Toby Sowery. He's standing by with Jake Query on pit lane.
Toby Sowery's out of that machine, and it looked like a good couple laps. I guess the question is, did you get the most speed out of the car, or do you get out and you think to yourself, man, I missed a little bit there?
No, it was definitely not the best performance from me. You know, I feel we've been quicker than David most of the weekend, and he's put it in front of us. So, you know, great job by him. You know, he's sitting on top of the timing, so he's done a really good job himself. A little bit disappointed with myself, but, you know, if we stay like this, it's a front row lockout for our team.
Better question is, in the practice, did you get enough time to figure out how your car is going to be in traffic? Because it gets awfully busy around here.
I think we've got a good race car. I think we've got a stronger race car than a quali car, looking at what we could do last week testing, but you know, tomorrow will tell. Tomorrow is a big indicator for us.
We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Toby Sowery, Nick.
Rob Howden, the first lap for Ryan Norman was average at 158.763, and we thought, doesn't look like he's going to be able to grab the top spot. How about that second lap, though?
Yeah, almost a full mile an hour quicker, 159.736 miles per hour. Looks good for Andretti Autosport. Ryan Norman to P1. 6 drivers in the books, 2 still to come. Of course, the 2 drivers ready to go have been battling each other in USF 2000. They went head-to-head there. They went head-to-head in karting even before that. Head-to-head last year at Indy Pro. Renus VK for Juncos Racing now onto the racetrack. But that was an impressive second run for Ryan Norman, really turning it up a full mile an hour to jump him from third up to P1.
Renus VK drives for Juncos Racing in the Mazda Jumbo Supermarkets machine. He comes to us from the Netherlands. He's a rookie driver, has been awful impressive. 3 race wins this season, and Rob, he is right there in the championship hunt this weekend. 45 markers behind Oliver Askew. He sees the green flag to start his qualifying run into turn number 1.
Indy Pro 2000 champion last year. That's why he's got the Mazda Soul Red colors on the car. Renus VK looking good coming down the back straightaway. Was actually the winner here in Indy Pro 2000 last year. Likes this racetrack a lot. He was third this morning in the practice session. Let's see what he can do. A pretty solid lap time, warm-up lap time, 157.145. Do we see our first 160-mile-an-hour lap?
Across the start-finish line, we do not. It's 158.647 for Renus VK. So very similar to the first lap we saw from Ryan Norman. Can he find that full mile per hour, though, like Norman, to grab the pole position? Rob, here he comes. Renus VK heads into turn number 3.
He'll duck that car down to the bottom of the racetrack, getting a good run through there. Renus VK in the number 21 machine lets it drift up a little bit past the apex, back out to the wall here in turn 4. Checkered flag will greet him here at start finish. 159.935, Nick. Almost 160, but enough to go just 0.04 of a mile an hour quicker than Ryan Norman.
He found 1.3 miles per hour on that second lap, and it is enough, Michael Young, to knock Ryan Norman off of the top spot.
I hate to be standing next to Ryan Norman because I think you thought for a second you might have had that pole. It just barely nipped you there, but you still had 2 fantastic laps. First one, not so good. Boy, you turned up the wick on the second one. The difference.
Yeah, you know, I was a little hesitant on the first lap. I probably should have picked it up a little bit there. Just lifted a little bit too much going into turn 1. And then at that point, just really had to get a good lap on the second one. And the car was perfect. It was really neutral, and it was, you know, it was a great car to drive. So thanks to the team.
It's been a year, but remind me, I think you put on a heck of a show, runner-up last year. You had a fun time here at Gateway.
Yeah, for sure. You know, the main thing today was we made sure we had a good race car. It's a long race, so really anything can happen. Just want to hold on to the tires and see what we got for the race. I think we have a good shot.
Well done.
Thank you.
Provisionally on the outside of road number 1 here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. That's Ryan Norman, Nick Gilman.
And we'll see if he can hold on to that front row start, because out on the racetrack is our points leader. He has won 6 times on the 2019 Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires schedule. He's won the last 3 races. And Rob, in practice this morning, his fast lap was 161 miles per hour. The warm-up speed for Oliver Askew, pretty good at 157.474.
Yeah, looking pretty good here on the warm-up lap. That signals that you've got some confidence in the car when you got the colder Cooper tires on. Again, all these drivers starting on the stickers. They'll run these tires tomorrow as well. Again, Ryan Norman, your winner last year, he knows how to win here. He knows how to race side by side here. We have 3 drivers potentially ready to fight up front. Throw in the drivers from HMD Motorsports. P1 for Oliver Askew on that opening lap, 159.398. We have not yet seen a lap here of 160 miles an hour. He'll work his way down the back straightaway. Nick, pretty good run going here for Oliver Askew.
But we have seen drivers pick up consistently on that second lap. So if the first lap is good enough to get him the pole, will the second lap improve? Out of Jupiter, Florida, he is the points leader in the Indy Lights Series. Here comes Oliver Askew across the start-finish line. He'll see the checkered flag, and there's the big lap at 160.44. He will grab the pole position at a two-lap average of 159.918 miles per hour for Oliver Askew. It is his 7th pole position of the season. Jake Query, you're standing by with the driver who will start alongside him. That is Rinus VeeKay.
And Rinus VeeKay kind of gave a grin, like an incredulous look when that speed came up. Let's talk first off about your run. Did you get the most out of that car?
Yeah, I got a lot out of the car. Of course, it's hard going to the conditions we never drove on with this car yet, and you actually just have to go right away. So I think there was more in myself still, but no, the car was great. I have to thank the team for the great car and their amazing amount of work they put in for the remainder of the season. So yeah, I'm happy with the front row start, and we can do a lot from here.
Let's talk about the race tomorrow. What do we anticipate, and what is it that's going to separate and allow someone to win on this particular track when things get bunched up?
I think it's important to be very smart on this track, and yeah, in the race, the setup will be so much different. So it will be a surprise what will happen, but I'm confident that I have the great car.
Still in that points championship. We look forward to watching tomorrow. Good luck.
Thank you.
It's Rinus VeeKay, Nick.
So as we wait to hear from our pole sitter, Oliver Askew, here's how they will start tomorrow when we go racing here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Live coverage of the Indy Lights Series presented by Cooper Tires on the Advanced Auto Parts IndyCar Radio Network comes your way at 3:15 Central Time, 4:15 Eastern. Oliver Askew and Rinus VeeKay, they're 1-2 in the championship. That is how they will start tomorrow. In row number 2, it'll be Ryan Norman, the defending winner of this race, alongside David Malukas from nearby Chicago, Illinois. In row number 3, it's Toby Sowery and Dalton Kellett. And then in the final row, it's Andretti Autosport pilot Robert McGinnis and Lucas Cole for Belardi Auto Racing. Rob, we've seen this a handful of times. Oliver Askew, when things are right, he is nearly untouchable. So far, perfect in practice and perfect in qualifying.
I'm starting to get that feeling like I had in 2017 when he was, coming into the season with low expectations, started winning a bunch of races, and then just really steamrolled over Rinus VeeKay to get that title in USF 2000 to win the scholarship to move to Indy Pro 2000. He's just got this confidence and momentum rolling right now. And coming off those 2 wins that he had at Mid-Ohio, Nick, he had it in his mind. If he comes here, if he puts the car on the pole, and if he gets a race win, this championship could be over. He's got that kind of a lead.
Nothing's over completely, but I think you're right. He has a chance to all but lock it up. Michael Young, it is pole position number 7 of the season for Oliver Askew.
And congratulations to Oliver. How do you win championships? You get poles and you win races, and it's been that kind of year for you. I remember back in 2017, your first stint in the USF 2000 series, you were just so dynamic. This season starting to shape up like that as well. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, and consistency pays off as well. And that's probably, that last session there was probably one of the most fun times I've had in a race car. The track was really, really good, and I can carry a lot of throttle through 1 and 2, so that's always fun. Yeah, this will just make tomorrow easier for us, so we need to take this position and execute.
Where are you right now mentally? You say the word fun, and I think success follows you when you have fun. Is that your state right now?
Yeah, I think so. I think, I mean, this is my 3rd year in cars, and I feel like, the more experience I have is good, and I feel super calm, too. This is probably the most calm I've ever been racing, so, that helps as well, yeah.
How is this race car? And obviously a good qualifying car for the race tomorrow. What do you think of the car for that?
Really good, and we've done enough race running to put us in a good position tomorrow. So hopefully we can stay in clean air as much as possible, and I'm sure these Andretti Autosport guys are going to put together a good car for us.
Race winner?
Well, yeah, we'll see.
There you go. I almost got you there. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Pole number 7, guys, for Oliver Askew.
Yep, great qualifying run for Oliver Askew as, again, he will lead the field to the green flag when we go racing tomorrow. All right, Rob, look at the 7 other drivers. Who has the best chance of knocking off Oliver Askew and preventing him from getting that race win?
I honestly think that we're going to see a pretty good battle up front. There could be as many as 5 cars. I don't think we've seen everything that the guys from HMD Motorsports have. I think Toby Sowery and David Malukas are going to be really racy. I think Rinus VK, with the pace he was able to show, and Ryan Norman, we know how good Ryan Norman races here. We could have a solid 5-driver battle up front with all the top 5 really fighting it out for this entire race.
All right, we are not done. Not quite yet here from Worldwide Technology Raceway in St. Louis, coming up at 8:15 Central Time. Just about 25 minutes from now, Mark Janes, Anders Krohn, Michael Young, and Jake Query are going to guide you through the final IndyCar practice. And if it's anything like I remember the last couple of years, Rob, they're going to be mixing it up 2 or 3 wide down the front stretch, kind of dialing those race cars, because, again, this is right about the time we're going to be racing tomorrow night.
And, again, they talked about, you heard it here, the guys have a car that they really like in qualifying, but they really need to work on that race car, and that's what we're going to see tonight. They're going to do a lot of work in the pits. They're going to make sure these cars are exactly what they want on longer runs. I'm excited about tonight. Under the lights, practice for IndyCar.
Again, that 1-hour practice session coming up at 8:15 Central Time, 9:15 Eastern. Great job by Jake Query and Michael Young down on pit lane. For Rob Howden, I'm Nick Yeoman. Congratulations to Oliver Askew, his 7th pole position in Indy Lights, as he will lead the field to the green tomorrow night from Worldwide Technology Raceway.
It's a gorgeous South Florida morning here at the Palm Beach International. Perfect setting to test out the new Cooper Xeon RS3 G1 tires.
It's a pretty brave move to put these tires on straight-up race cars.
The racetrack is the perfect scenario for this particular tire.
All day they were great, super predictable on the breakaway.
The tires, they seem like they have a lot of grip. You'll get a lot of use out of the tires.